Hi, John Chapin with your sales tip of the day. And actually today, I'm going to give you a series of tips. In fact, 11 tips to mentally prepare yourself to cold call. Now look, I've heard lots of quote sales gurus say that cold calling doesn't work. You want to do all your business off referrals and things like that. Look, obviously, if you could do all your business off referrals, you do all your business off referrals. But look, few, if any, salespeople have enough referrals to be able to do that. And some might have some marketing leads coming in off the website or whatever. But even with the other sources, rarely do they have enough sources, enough leads for the business they need to do in order to thrive. And almost 100% of the cases, you're going to have to call on strangers to generate the amount of sales revenue you need. As a number one sales rep in 3 industries who built his businesses primarily on cold calling, I can tell you absolutely, unequivocally, cold calling works. It's the fastest way to grow a business is just going out there and calling on a ton of people. At the same time, it is the most difficult and the most time-consuming task. In fact, the fact that it's the most difficult task is the reason why I think you should always be cold calling no matter how successful your business is. Because look, the bottom line is, if you can cold call, you can do anything else in sales. If you can call a stranger, get them on the phone or get them in person, get their attention, keep their attention to the point where you set an appointment or make a sale, any other part of the sales process is going to be easy. What seems to be that talking to strangers part and getting their attention part that salespeople have the most trouble with. So if you can cold call, everything else will be easy. And look, you may have a super successful business. You may have been doing it for 30 years or whatever it is. Just make 1 or 2 calls a week. It will keep you sharp. It will keep you on your toes. Also, if you have other salespeople who work for you and now they're out cold calling, you'll know what it's like in the current environment. You'll have more credibility with them, and it will keep you grounded in the current reality. So I'm a big proponent of cold calling, regardless of where you are in your career or where you are in relation to the cold calling. Here are the 11 tips you can use if you want to get yourself ready to cold call. So tip number 1 is be prepared. Look, you got to know your call inside and out. You got to have it memorized. You got to know it verbatim. Have it scripted. If you're on the phone, you can have it in front of you. Now, obviously, if you do have it in front of you on the phone, you want to know it well enough so you don't sound like you're reading it. Note objections you're likely to run into. Be prepared with answers to those. Look, the more prepared you are, the more confident you'll be. So tip number 1, be prepared. Tip number 2, accept the nerves. Look, everyone's nervous making cold calls, so just realize that's part of the territory. If you can, you want to use those nerves as energy. Being nervous and being excited are basically the same biological response of the body. So tell yourself, I'm excited to make these calls, reach the people that need me, help them, and make some money. I'm excited. Get those butterflies in your stomach to fly in formation and channel that energy. Either way, just remember, if you're nervous, good. You're human. That's normal. Tip number 3, don't take rejection personally. Look, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting your product, your service, your company, the fact that they just got a phone call, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If I called, your mom called, your dad called, at that point, anybody, they reject us too. It's not you, so just don't take it personally. Number 4, what's the worst that can happen? No one ever died from making cold calls. The worst that can happen is someone can yell at you, they can say some bad words, hang up. And by the way, rarely does that happen, okay? But that's the worst that can happen. So when you think of the plus side, you're eventually going to get some leads. You're eventually going to get some sales. You're going to help some people. You're going to make some money. That's the payoff. And be successful. So that occasional person who's going to yell at you or hang up on you, it really isn't that bad. So just accept it and move on. Tip number 5, rejection is part of the cold calling territory. Look, it's like baseball. The top hitters, the most successful hitters, 300 hitters, they fail 70% of the time. They're only successful 30% of the time. Same with cold calling. You'll run into more failure than success. But again, like the nerves, like anything else, it's just part of the territory. So just accept that and move on. Tip number 6, 1 lead or lack thereof will not make or break you. So look, if you really botch a call, you do terrible, you say the wrong thing, you totally screw it up, whatever happens, just realize there are plenty of other people out there to call. No problem. Tip number 7, before you call, you're at ground zero. You have absolutely nothing to lose. If you call someone, they hang up, they reject you, whatever it is, you're no worse off. At the same time, if you get the lead, then you're better off. It's like Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You got to take the shot. And again, you're at ground zero. If you don't get the lead, you're still at ground zero. You haven't lost anything. Tip number 8, each call brings you closer to a sale. Every single call you make gets you that much closer to a sale. In fact, I have some people I work with who they break it down to the numbers so they know exactly how much money they make on every single call, whether they talk to somebody or not. For example, just to use some round numbers, let's say someone knows that they need to make 10 calls to get one lead and they need 10 leads to get one sale. That means it takes 100 calls to make a sale. So if they make $1,000 on their average sale, that means each call is worth $10 regardless of what happened on the call. In fact, I have some people who they'll have somebody yell at them for calling or whatever it is, and they'll say, thank you for the $10 and hang up. So each call gets you closer to a sale. With each call, you're putting money in your pocket one way or the other. Tip number 9 is similar to number 8. Tip number 9 is each call gets you closer to your goals and dreams. So hopefully you have some goals, some dreams, some things you want to get or achieve for the family, for yourself, for whatever it is. Each call gets you closer to the sale. The sales get you closer to having the money, the resources to make those goals and those dreams a reality. Tip number 10, view cold calling as a strength and character builder. Look, see yourself as someone who's capable of cold calling, as someone who's capable of doing something that many other salespeople on the planet can't do, won't do, and then make it a game. You know, try to outdo everyone in the office or try to beat your personal best. Try to set a new personal record or try to beat what you did yesterday, the day before, whatever it is. Try to get one more yes before you knock off for the day or reach one more person. Either way, see making calls as a game. See it as a strength and character builder. And then finally, number 11, tip number 11, the more you cold call, the easier it will become. This is similar to the theory, if you face your fear, the death of fear is certain. The more you cold call, the better you'll get, the easier it will be, and it'll get to a point where it feels like a day at the beach. I mean, look, when you get in the habit of making calls, you get to the point where it's second nature. You just automatically do it without even thinking about it. So that's it. Use those 11 tips to mentally prepare and get ready to cold call. And again, cold calling is extremely important for building business. It's the fastest way unequivocally to build a business is to go out there and call on tons of people. And again, if you can cold call and you get really good at cold calling, everything else in sales will be a breeze. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you on the next video.